To the hip hop. To the hip hop. To the hip hop. To the hip hop. Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome to the HP Men's Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Jorge Rodriguez.
And I'm the other host, Jack Hamilton.
We're excited to start the show today. We've got a whole bunch of shit to talk about. We've got almost too much stuff to talk about. But we're going to get through all of it, alright? We're the best podcasters ever. And it's almost unbelievable to think that we started this, and this is our 8th episode. And we're kind of just rolling with it right now. Like, we really don't know what we're doing. But we're making a podcast. That's all we know that we're doing, and we're doing it.
We couldn't have got this far, 8 episodes far,
8 episodes. This is a lot of episodes.
without the fans.
I
mean,
let me tell y'all.
the fans that
Them
listen to this
fans.
podcast are the best fans in the world.
They something else. They really are. They're the best. And for those of you that have been sticking with us since day uno, special thanks from me and Jack.
Day
goes
one.
out to you. Goes out to your families. Goes out to the homeboys. Y'all are the best. The best fans in the world. Actually, we really don't have a lot of fans. But for those of you that do listen, we actually do thank y'all a lot because it means a lot to us. Just because we started this really out of nowhere. And it was really fun. And it's been really fun.
And it's because of you guys that we're making so much money based off this.
Yeah,
We're making
unlimited
so much
amount of
money,
money.
you can't even count on it.
Actually, our video is sponsored by Ruffles Original Chips.
Shout out to Ruffles.
Ruffles have ridges.
When you want to make a sandwich for your child in elementary school,
Yeah.
and you
And you're
want to
not
give
good
them,
at making sandwiches, so you need something else to make up for it.
yeah, and you want to put a little special something in the middle, look no further than Ruffles.
Ruffles.
No, not a lot of people eat Ruffles. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No,
But
I do.
I'm just saying.
Well, let's not open these right now, because like.
No, I'm not gonna open it.
Okay,
I'm
well,
just
you can
saying.
Finish your promo.
When you're going to Georgetown, right,
Georgetown.
to watch the girls completely
Hammer
demolish,
some no-name high school soccer team.
and you're driving back, and you need to stop at a gas station for a little fill up on the way back, because it's a pretty lengthy drive.
Yeah.
Look no further than Ruffles.
To satiate all your hunger cravings. There we go.
Right there.
So on today's episode, we're gonna be talking about a few different things. I know our intro is sort of extraneous, but we do have some things we need to get to. We're recording this episode on a Wednesday, so tonight, not a Wednesday.
It's a Thursday.
I keep on thinking it's Wednesday, so it's Thursday,
Thursday.
and we're recording this episode. We went to the girls' game, so we're gonna be talking about that a little bit. Also, we've got some NBA action on tonight. We've got 3 series games, all of which are tied 1-1 for each team. So we'll be talking about that a little bit.
What about the Rockets?
Rockets. We'll talk about the Rockets a little bit. We got the draft in 7 days. We got some prospects. We got a whole lot of things. Also, one more thing, big deal. Josh Rosen. You tell him about Josh Rosen. Let him know.
Josh Rosen, right? He went to UCLA.
Big UCLA guy.
I actually saw him play back when I was in Las Vegas. UCLA came to visit, played UNLV, absolute worst football team in the entire nation. UCLA actually demolished them, but not as bad as one would think.
Okay.
And Josh Rosen actually didn't play that good.
Well,
It was surprising.
okay. Well, let's not get into that right now. We're
I'm just
going
saying,
through the topics,
that's-
but that's an
what I
awesome
was saying.
anecdote. So happy you shared that with us. Save the rest for later, because we're gonna get to it on the HP Men's Soccer Podcast. And then also one more thing. I feel like we got one more thing. Oh my goodness.
What?
I forgot the biggie.
What's the biggie?
This is the meat of the episode. Y'all know the New York Football Giants. One of the most renowned football programs in the NFL history books. They're the best. They're one of the best teams. Now, not so much.
They're terrible.
We're in the draft. We're going through the draft process. And the Giants have picks number 6 and number 17. We're going to be breaking down what they're going to do with those picks and if they could potentially trade those picks for
Better picks.
something.
Okay. What they're going to do, what we think they're going to do,
Two
and
different
what they
things.
should do.
3 different things.
Because we all know New York-based sports franchises don't always do what they should.
They don't.
I'm looking at you, the Bills, the Jets. The Giants don't really have that bad of a draft
Yeah.
history. However, they've been known to fuck up massively.
As they did this year,
Yeah.
trading Odell.
Now,
That kind of sucks. Because Odell's a fucking monster of a player.
yeah.
Like, do you know how hard it is to find an Odell? Like, and to make, like,
There's literally no other Odells in the league. There's only one.
there's probably only one in the world. Like, no one else is named Odell Beckham Jr. That's a unique name.
And even then, if there is another guy named that, he probably didn't go to LSU.
Most definitely didn't.
Do you think about that?
I didn't, but now I am. And he definitely went to LSU. That's Odell Beckham Jr. in the flesh. Went to LSU. Great guy, great dude. Drafted by the Giants. Killing it.
And even then, if there was a guy named Odell Beckham Jr. who went to LSU,
Imposter.
you can best believe he wasn't best bros with Jarvis
I
Landry.
don't know. Juice is on a whole other level. The Juice and OBJ friendship is unbreakable. It's something very special. And I cannot wait to see what happens in Cleveland this coming year. So let's start getting into it right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the NBA games on tonight. So our first few games up tonight on the list are Philadelphia versus Brooklyn. Both, I mean, they played 2 games.
They're all right.
Philadelphia got 1. Brooklyn got 1.
Most of the viewership of all the series is not going to be on that game, but
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Because D'Angelo Russell, comeback player of the year, nominate him right now. I don't know if he's going to win it, but he's definitely in the talks.
everybody think he a bitch because of what he did at the Lakers with Nick Young.
But we know the Lakers.
But we know the Lakers.
They ain't good.
You guys know the Lakers.
We talked about
Y'all
that.
watched the last episode. You know all about the Lakers.
They know how to fuck up a team.
They do.
So D-Russ, definitely in the conversation to be a comeback player of the year. I haven't watched a lot of Brooklyn games. I know I did.
Nobody watches Brooklyn games.
Well, I did for a little bit because, you know, when I was doing the little betting thing at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was doing that, Brooklyn was my team because they covered every game. There was a streak where I went 10, 12 games where Brooklyn covered the spread every time. So they were my team, and they looked good in the middle of the season.
So, for people who don't know what that means, what does that mean?
So covering the spread is basically when Vegas or whatever odds book, they come out with odds for games. So say like tonight, like the Warriors are 6.5 point favorites.
That's pretty big. That's a big spread.
Against the Clippers. And
Yeah.
so basically that means the Warriors have to win. Like if you bet on the Warriors have to win by
7 points.
6.5 points to
So 7.
push it, meaning you get your money back, or win the bet and they have to win by 7 points.
Yeah.
If the Clippers they make sure that they lose by less than 6 points or win, you lose your bet essentially. And so basically, I mean, I'm not really good at explaining that kind of stuff just because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, a lot of analytics or whatever. But I mean, that's it. They covered. Brooklyn is the team. So if you guys don't know, like I don't really know how to bet. I just knew that was my team.
Yeah. They didn't really have massive spreads the whole year.
No.
So
They kept it close.
it's 1.5 point, 2.5 point spreads.
Yeah.
So
And
I mean,
also like that was one team. Was
Yeah.
the Nets. The Nets were my go-to. The Nets, and then also the Pistons. The Pistons, believe it or not,
Pistons.
they
Andre
covered-
Drummond Pistons?
They covered. I mean, we call them Motown Pistons. All right, they covered. Those guys know how to cover. Honestly, they're my safe bets. You get Brooklyn. You get the Pistons. You're safe, guaranteed. So, anyways, that was kind of off topic. But Philadelphia and Brooklyn, they're playing tonight. They're playing actually in about an hour. So we'll see how that goes. Also, Denver, San Antonio, and then last game, big game.
Warriors, Clippers.
What a historic.
Everybody knows what happened when the Warriors played the Cavaliers. They blew a 3-1 lead.
3-1.
They played the Clippers. They blew a 3-1, 31-point lead. Does that mean anything? I don't know.
A coincidence.
You tell
I
me.
guarantee it.
It's not a coincidence.
On my mama. Not
On his
coincidence.
mama. On his
my
mama.
mama.
That ain't a coincidence.
No way. And also that game was really something special because, I mean, that was the largest postseason comeback ever.
Ever of all time. Like ever.
In all the games played. There's been a lot of postseason games. The NBA has been a thing for a long time. And because that's the biggest
long time.
the biggest time, right? And if that's, I mean, they came back from 31 points. It's hard to do that.
We can't even come back from like a 2-goal deficit.
No
and they
way.
came back from a 31-point lead.
Can you imagine being down 31 goals and coming back? Oh my God. Coming back and
I think you could do
winning
that.
32-31 in soccer goals. That'd be impressive. Also, I'd want to see that game because that would be a shootout. That'd be awesome.
You'd have to score every 2 minutes.
Way more than that, every minute and a half.
Oh shit, you're right.
So, I mean, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly,
It's a lot of goals.
That's ridiculous. And so we're not really, I'm at least not a really big NBA guy. I like watching it. Don't know a lot of the insight behind it. More of a football guy. So football, I mean, shifting away from the NBA for a second, football has kind of been a big talking point. There's been stories about Josh Rosen. I mean, the draft's coming up. I mean, obviously the trade deadline, big people signing big contracts. There's been a whole lot to talk about. And we've got a lot to talk about. So we can't fit it all in one episode. We're not even going to try to do that.
Oh, you don't want to try?
I mean, we could try.
We could try.
Might as well.
Let's try.
Fuck around and try a little bit.
All right.
So we're going to begin talking about the NFL with the draft. And so the draft it's 7 days away. It's pretty close. Next Thursday is the big day for a lot of these guys.
Our banquet is closer than 7 days.
It's on Tuesday.
Think about that.
That's pretty close. And also, we're going to figure out who our captains are on Tuesday, on our banquet day. So we got a lot of stuff going on Tuesday. But we're not talking about Tuesday.
On a Tuesday
We're not talking
of all the days
about
of the week.
Tuesday. Tuesday is probably the most uneventful.
Tuesdays suck
weekday.
because Mondays are like, okay.
Everyone's bitching and complaining about how bad Mondays are. So
Right.
you got someone to talk about with anyone on a Monday. Tuesday is like...
Tuesdays, like, so there's always those kids that are like, okay, well, at least Monday's done. So Tuesday's like a new fresh day or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's usually no quizzes or tests on a Tuesday, right?
Oof. I mean, pre-cal.
Yeah,
Hey,
pre-cal
for all y'all
fucking
taking pre-cal,
sucks.
Y'all know. Tuesdays, Mondays, any day of the week is day out for
The
blood.
worst
Coach
day.
Sean, shout out. You are killing my grade.
Anyways, so there's those kids. Then there's the kids like me. And they say, okay, Mondays are done. But we still got 4 more days of this
days?
bullshit. 4 more
That
days.
many? Like, not even 5.
4 more days.
Before? And then the worst kids. Oh, my God. Forget Tuesday.
Tell me about it.
You got the classic hump day, dudes. It's Wednesday, hump day, bless up. We got 2 more days after today. Shut up, all right? No one cares about what you think of your Wednesday. It's the middle of the week.
Because it's at that time, it's the middle of the week. So you can't like tell stories. You can't reminisce about the crazy shit you did on the weekend.
Yeah, because
it's the middle of the
already
week.
stale.
And plus, you're not close enough to the weekend to think about what you're gonna do.
So you're basically on an island.
You're basically fucking trapped in the middle of the week, just wanting to basically end it all.
I don't know if you want to end it all. I would
Not
say
end everything, but like
no,
end school.
Not stay in
just
school.
walk out of
kids.
class,
Stay in school.
go to B-dubs, catch a couple games, and never go back to
Or
school ever.
Wingstop. Or Wingstop.
But we've had that debate before.
Most important thing is stay in school, kids. If you don't like Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, if you don't like Fridays, you're kind of fucked up. But if you don't like any other weekday, then just know that you need to stay in school because time is unstoppable.
Time
and
is
we
an
will all
illusion.
die eventually. So
Time is an
that's-
illusion created by man.
That's what they want you to think. Also, time. When you're picking in the draft, you got a clock.
That was a good transition.
If I'm Dave Gettleman right now, GM of the Giants, and I've got the 6th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, who am I picking? I just traded away Odell Beckham Jr. I obviously have no idea what I'm doing with my job. So you tell me what I'm supposed to do.
So that's actually quite an interesting question. So I'm Gettleman, right? I have no idea.
I was, but you can be Gettleman.
I'm Gettleman. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, right? I'm just essentially taking one of the most historic franchises ever in all of the world, not even in football, in all of the world, the most historic, and I'm fucking driving it into the ground, right? I've
Yeah.
just sold our star player. I've traded him, whatever, sold, because they didn't really receive anything meaningful. So basically a sell, giveaway. So
The Odell Beckham Jr. sweepstakes.
exactly.
Just take
It's
him.
a fucking
Just
lottery.
take him.
Just fucking take him. Now, do I take Dwayne Haskins or do I take a receiver?
I say neither. Here's what I'm doing if I'm Dave Gettleman, all right? We've got a shitty team. We've got to win games. How are we going to win games with the roster that looks like the roster that I have right now on paper? This is what I'm going to do, all right? Our defense sucks. Our O-line sucks.
Our quarterback sucks.
Our quarterback sucks. We need to prepare for the future. But with the 6th overall pick, with a stacked defensive draft, and some all right quarterbacks, I'd say might as well just fuck around, get a edge rusher, possibly a D tackle, something with the defense. Something with the defense. And I feel like if Rashawn Gary or a Montez Sweat,
Quinnen Williams isn't going to drop that low.
No, there's no way.
There's no way he's going to drop that low.
If he does, that'd be kind of whack.
So if y'all were thinking we were forgetting about Quinnen Williams, we already knew about him, but he's not going to drop that low. That's why he's not even a candidate for the Giants. Yeah.
So if I'm Dave Gettleman, I'm in the draft room and I'm thinking, listen, guys, we know that I don't know what I'm doing. I brought you here today so you guys can tell me what I can do to look smart.
And I can take the credit.
Right. And I know you guys probably don't want that, but
I'm the GM and you're not.
But I traded Odell, so
I got to do something bold.
Meaning I have to look the part. So here's what we're gonna do.
Oh, speaking of that, you ever see the movie Draft Day?
Of course.
Kevin Costner.
It's all right. All right movie.
I know, but literally in the movie they say you got to look. There's always somebody at the end of the draft that comes out looking like an ass, right? Who has no idea what the fuck he's doing, right?
We're talking about a player?
No, GM.
Oh, right.
Now,
right.
Dave Gettleman right now is that guy. If he doesn't pull off something fucking magical, he is that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy.
Yeah.
For the last 5-6 years, it's been the Browns GM. You would agree with that? Because they've drafted bust after bust.
Yeah.
Dave Gettleman needs a bold pick.
So we're making this more serious. So if I'm actually Dave Gettleman, what I would try to do is look at top to bottom what needs fixing on my roster as soon as possible.
What needs fixing?
So Eli Manning, he's got a year left in him. I'm thinking, obviously, take a quarterback, but maybe not a quarterback in the early rounds. So also at the same time, I'm thinking defensively, we've got some issues. We made a trade. Obviously, we traded Odell Beckham Jr. In return, we got Jabril Peppers. Now, Jabril Peppers, I feel like could possibly be the cornerstone of the Giants' defense for the future. It's possible, especially considering that their defense is barren as fuck. There's no one on that roster that makes me scared. Like, if I'm looking at their defensive talent, what they have on their team right now, the only player that sticks out to me is Jabril Peppers. You have someone like that who could potentially be a leader. You look at the other things, defensive line.
You don't trade away somebody who can be the cornerstone of a defense. There's a reason.
No, I'm not saying trade away Jabril Peppers.
I'm just saying there's a reason the Browns traded him away.
True.
There's a reason that they were just willing to let him go. He was not an Odell Beckham type player, right? So I don't understand. If you really think he's a cornerstone player like that, why would they just let him go?
Who are we talking about? Talking about Jabril Peppers?
Jabril Peppers, yeah.
He played for the Giants.
I know, but why did the Browns let him go? That's what I'm saying.
Well, because, I feel like if I was a GM of any team, I would look at anyone on my roster, and if someone was on the trade block, like Odell Beckham Jr., I would do anything in my power to make sure that I can get him. And if all I need to give up is Jabril Peppers or some picks or whatever, I'll make that happen, all right? And props to John Dorsey and his front office making that happen. So I'm saying, Jabril Peppers, I feel like he could be the cornerstone of a Giants defense. And honestly, they have no choice because they don't have anyone on that defense that could step up and be a leader.
That's true.
So I'm thinking, you need someone like Jabril to lead your team, lead your defensive side of the locker room. In doing that, I'd say draft a defensive player. Rashawn Gary. They've got the Michigan connection. Rashawn Gary, they're a good choice. He's got a high athletic upside. He's one of the most talented edge rushers in the draft. Sometimes he disappears in games. I've noticed that as a Michigan fan. It happens. He disappears in games.
Michigan, right there.
Go Blue, baby. And, it's hard if he has the right coaching, if he has the right sort of plug-and-play mentality, plug-and-play sort of system in New York, and they really center all their attention on him and Jabril Peppers, two cornerstones to a possible stalwart defense, they could do something fantastic. So I'm saying early first-round pick, the Giants have to go with a defensive player. There's obviously going to be a quarterback taken within the first round. Kyler Murray, number 1. I think that's close to a lock. So speaking of lock,
you're just willing to pass on Dwayne Haskins then?
Speaking of lock, at 17, I will bet my life that Drew Lock will be available. And Drew Lock...
You'll bet your life. Are
Yeah.
you willing to shake on that?
For those of you listening, we just shook on it. I will give up my life if Drew Lock did not get drafted at 17 to the Giants. I feel like it's a perfect fit. I feel like Dwayne Haskins, he can't really throw the ball deep. He's really relies on the shallow crosses, mesh concepts. A lot of these like closer to the line of scrimmage plays. He's not a good deep ball thrower. The numbers show it. He's just not. He can't do it. Ohio State system, you plug in any quarterback in that system, and you get the same numbers Dwayne Haskins had. He's a good quarterback. He has a
good physique for a quarterback.
I wouldn't even say that. His combine,
he's massive.
His combine was not impressive from measurables to.
There's combine players and there's not combine players. Look at Tom Brady, best quarterback of all time. He was average at best, poor at worst in the combine.
Okay, but I agree with you on that. But I'm saying Dwayne Haskins to me doesn't seem like, especially for playing in college, playing, the year before, but only starting this year.
Yeah,
his first
only 1
year
year.
taking starter reps.
Yeah.
Was impressive, but I feel like the sample size is too small to commit your franchise to. So I feel like instead of wasting a sixth overall pick on a Dwayne Haskins who's only played 1 year of college football, or 1 year starting college football, why would you put all your chips on this guy and assume that he's going to be their franchise quarterback when you could draft a player on the defense that could be the cornerstone of your defense, that could make a difference and has proven, as Rashawn Gary, has proven that he can be a top-level threat. He could be a threat at the highest level if you draft him.
That's fair.
You can't go wrong with him. He's not a boom or bust player. He's a boom player. He's got a high ceiling. He's got the potential to be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. It's hard to go wrong with him. I can't say the same about Dwayne Haskins. So I'm saying draft defense early, go offense, quarterback later.
Now, Drew Lock at 17, that's your pick.
That's who I would take. Because Dwayne Haskins, I don't feel like will be available. If he is, I say draft Dwayne Haskins at 17.
We both agree. There's no quarterback. Well, I wouldn't say no quarterback. Very, very few quarterbacks come out of the draft NFL ready. You put them in at the beginning, right? You say most quarterbacks need a couple games, need some mentoring. Now, Drew Lock is not one of those elite quarterbacks. Now, he needs mentoring. He needs games and watching film and taking mentoring. Now, is Eli Manning the guy to give that to him?
I would say, yeah. I would say their playing style is sort of similar. I think you can see there's more. You can draw more comparisons between Eli and Drew Lock than you can Eli with Dwayne Haskins. And I feel like I'm pretty confident in saying that because Eli Manning, he's a pocket passer. Drew Lock is a pocket passer, so is Dwayne Haskins. But the thing that sets Drew Lock apart is that he's an anticipatory thrower. He always Dwayne Haskins is not good at this. Let me iterate this right now in front of the camera in the microphone. Dwayne Haskins throughout his college career is a bad anticipatory thrower. He's not good at doing that.
He throws it
Drew
behind
Lock
guys.
trusts his receivers.
Yeah.
And the SEC, first of all, is a superior conference to the Big Ten.
That's true.
So the defenses that Drew Lock has to face, the coverages that he faces on a week-to-week basis, is more complex comparatively to what Ohio State faces.
And he still trusted his receivers to throw against, in the hardest conference, the best.
All right, continue.
What was I saying? Drew Lock still trusted his receivers to get open against the best defenders in college football, and Dwayne Haskins couldn't even do that with a lesser conference.
To really, yeah, and it's kind of unfair to think that Drew Lock is anything less than a number 2 quarterback at this point, just because the defenses that he faced throughout college was superior to that of Dwayne Haskins. And, especially this stands out to me, and I was watching some film on this, but Drew Lock in the game against Alabama really displayed what he can bring at the NFL level. His throws were on point. They were on target. They were, just the coverages that Alabama shows you. Alabama got to the national championship game. They don't do that just because they're Alabama. They do that because they're the hardest working team in college football. Maybe second to Clemson, but one of the hardest working teams in college football. They show you looks that you aren't really ready to prepare for. You can watch a little bit of film, but they're going to throw something at you you're not ready to expect. Drew Lock played fantastic against them. His throws were, like I said, on point, on target. He was fantastic. He played as good a game as you can against Alabama, aside from Trevor Lawrence.
And I don't know if we're making a big enough point about this. Against Alabama.
They're head and shoulders above
Alabama.
any team in the Big Ten, any team anywhere.
Except for Clemson, yeah.
So here's the thing. I'm saying if Drew Lock is available, it only makes sense to have someone like Eli Manning with similar play styles, similar sort of attributes to mentor him into being, New York's next biggest and brightest star. It makes sense.
So you're not
again, that's not taking anything away from Dwayne Haskins. I just don't feel like that would be a good fit for him at New York.
So
I don't think it will.
2 questions.
Yes.
Giants.
Yeah.
You take a quarterback this year like Drew Lock. That means you completely throw out the idea of maybe drafting a Tua or Trevor Lawrence next year.
Yeah, I probably would, because here's the thing. Like you said, the fan bases in New York, in sort of the North, or any place that, there's
They need success
the team
now.
The team is always under scrutiny in the media.
Yeah.
It always has the bright lights shining on it. Oftentimes you get put in a position where you have to make a decision, and the decision isn't always going to be the best. The mistakes that you make in these areas become magnified when more people are watching you than in places like, I don't know, like Jacksonville or other no-name Phoenix, like all these different places where they don't get the same type of media coverage. But
right.
in media capitals like LA, New York, your mistakes are amplified. So a team like New York, they can't make a mistake drafting someone that can't be put in and be part of their system. They can't do it. They can't make that mistake.
What do you think the percentage is on Drew Lock being a flop?
I would say probably the worst case scenario for him is he's a second string quarterback for a mediocre team. So like a second string quarterback for like the Bucks, I feel like he will have an NFL job for a while. I feel like what he can bring to the table, ceiling is obviously deep playoff runs, possibly championships, maybe more than one championship if he gets surrounded with the right pieces. But I feel like worst case scenario, he's no worse than a second string, maybe trash starter. I feel like that's the lowest of the low. But his ceiling is, with the right coaching, could make crazy things happen. And in New York, who needs it more than anyone else right now, that'd be a blessing. At 17, too. At 17, that would be a blessing.